TV News caught up with him at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. President Atta Mills started off his visit at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, walking through to the new plant station to see the devastation for himself. The president asked victims of the flood to remain calm, adding that the necessary steps will be taken to forestall a recurrence of such floods. Before the president arrived, activities at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle had come to a halt following the torrential rains. Commuters plying the roads leading to the circle were compelled to alight midway and look for alternative routes to their destinations. One such place was the Ghanaian Times Junction. For some people, it was time to make money. They took advantage of the situation to charge 1 Ghana cedi per person to carry them across to safety. GTV discovered that vehicles operating from the new plant station, which were caught up in the downpour, have been rendered immobile. As a result, they are not operating and commuters have to seek alternate ways of getting to their destinations. Still on last night's downpour in Accra and the subsequent flooding, which has left homes and livelihoods of many of the city's residents in ruins, on her way to work this morning, our correspondent Tara Cutson captured some scenes in the following story.
Crowds gathered on the bridge this morning to view the devastation. Some residents waded through the water in an attempt to salvage belongings, but little is left undamaged.
Everything spoiled, my TV, my debt, everything. Every one day, everything spoiled.
This man has lost everything but the boxers he's wearing.
My money, my everything lost. I lose my everything. Look at me, look. I wear boxers standing here.
Residents told me that 4 people died here last night. They were sleeping in their homes when the flood waters came in.
You can see more lives are losing, more properties.
Because what I've got a deed open is too small. They should do it, you know. Life.
This man's business is underwater. He says it's the worst flooding they've seen in 16 years. Residents are appealing for help from the government.
Yeah, so we need our president can make something over here for us.
Come here.
Because we are over tired over here.
We need help from the government. You know, they have to help us.
In a related development, 2 men have been confirmed dead as a result of the downpour in the early hours of the morning. Meanwhile, thousands of people have been displaced and property running into thousands of Ghana cedis lost to the floods. Residents of the area are appealing to the government and NADMO to come to their aid. This was the scene at some parts of the Circle Business Center. According to some victims, they have lost all their wares to the floods.
And then I said almost 40 million. The phones in Sokum, bosses in the and then man said when the money in Sokum, the Kadia Bobby Pa.
Spray cosmetics in Sunday in the man, you crash on the minimum.
For residents in the Odona community, the floods experienced during the early hours of this morning was something they had not seen in a long time. By the time GTV got to the scene, residents were still trying to salvage some of their property.
It was around 12:30. So I was sleeping. All of a sudden I heard boom. I realized my phone was broken. So I woke up from my bed and took my phone from my bed, put the phone in my pocket. I was standing on the bed. Less than 2 minutes, the bed was sinking. So the bed made me fall inside the water. So I left my computer inside the water. Everything in the TV hit my stomach. It won't be easy. Before I could come out, the whole house was flooded to the center level, to the middle level, and we lost everything.
Problem if the contractor now or Jumano, our railway so if in 95 and so no bad say no, it been my bill up to now. Nepana war railway cross overhead, you know, what broke or dono one side, in so no banner, and your baby and fat. Just say a fat be a fear be a local room.
A combined team made up of NADMO, the police and the military were on hand to rescue some of the victims. 2 men in their mid-30s died as a result of the floods.
We were clearing the refuse on the compound. When of the stadium, one of my brothers was asking of accuracy, and so we were going to look whether he is inside the room. The time we found the door open, he was lying there dead. No.
According to a member of the rescue team, despite efforts to evacuate some of the victims, some did not want to be rescued because they were protecting their property.
We arrived here, started the rescue operation, only to realize that the power line was still in. We called ECG several times. We had problem getting them to respond to it. And our men were also getting electrocuted. We were having shocks. So in order not to compound the situation, we halted. They tried turning it off, but they did not get all the areas. They turned off behind us and in front of us and left this area. You know, the problem was actually here. A few people wanted to protect their properties. They didn't want to move out of their residence. We couldn't have forced them. Those who were willing, we brought them out.
Meanwhile, a Good Samaritan, upon hearing the plight of the victims, rushed to provide food for the children of the displaced residents. Meanwhile, reports from Domi in the Domi-Kwabinya constituency of Accra also indicate some devastation.
At Domi in the Domi-Kwabinya constituency in Accra, the situation was no different. Residents who live close to the big drain at Domi Pillar 2 got their houses flooded and some properties washed away. Fortunately, there were no casualties. Some officials from National Security were on the scene to assist residents bounce back to normal life.
Most of the properties, they're in the water. Everything is soaked. So we can't take any property. We save lives alone. When we rescue lives, when there's life, there is hope. I understand behind Suba down, behind a hotel, we're pursuing to see if we could see this person, either he or she. So 2 girls with 1 boy. We're pursuing to see how best we can save the situation. It's our interest to save.
The downpour started last night around 8 p.m. and has caused flooding in most areas in the capital.
One effect of the devastating rains of last night was the motor accidents it caused on the Accra-Tema motorway. According to an eyewitness, Nana Kwame Ado, a tipper truck driver who had loaded his truck with sand on the motorway, had an accident spilling the sand onto the road, but it was not well managed. A taxi driver who was plying the same road this morning also lost control because of the slippery nature of the road caused by a mixture of the sand and the rain. The taxi landed in a ditch. While trying to solve the problem, the military car and an urban bus from Aflao also had an accident on the same road. A BMW car and another tipper truck also ran into the already damaged taxi, where another accident occurred. There were injuries, but no death was reported.